Welcome to the Christian Campfire Conversations podcast, where we have real conversations about real topics. Our goal is to educate believers in order to fulfill the Great Commission. So without further ado, let's get on to the podcast.
What's up, my basic family, my brothers and sisters in Christ? I'm here on my show with my co-host, Keegan Lowen. So Keegan, what is your favorite book of the Bible and why?
I'm probably gonna have to go with Maccabees on this one.
Yeah, why is that?
It's just because it was added after the Bible, was created. No, just kidding. That is not a book of the Bible.
Gotta be cackling with that one.
Actually, I'm probably gonna have to either go with Job or like Ephesians or Philippians. But I'm gonna go for this,
Or Galatians.
Or Galatians. Any of Paul's letters really. Now I'm gonna go with Job. I think Job has an amazing story to teach us, and the question, the age-old question of, if God is loving and if God is just, why does He allow suffering? In the book of Job, we have that answered for us clearly. And Job, a brief overview of Job. Job goes through has everything taken away from him except for his life. And Job perseveres through that. He comes out on the other side, and God credits him twice of what he started with. Max, what is your favorite book of the Bible?
I like the Bible.
The Bible? One book.
I like Ephesians, probably would be my favorite. Or like Solomon. Not Solomon. The Proverbs, written by Solomon. That's what I was.
Oh, you're such an intellect. you know
do
who
you
it's
mean?
written by. Wow, congrats.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's my
Want a
bad for
gold
knowing
star?
context.
Want a gold star?
I want a cookie.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like you do or not. Max, I got a question for you.
Fine.
One sec. I never had a question for you, but I know I needed to ask you one. If you, this can be bad. If you could have a 2-hour conversation with any past public figure,
Past public figure?
past anybody from the past, living, present, or past, who would it be? Or 1 hour with Joseph Smith? No, sorry. Just kidding. You heard the first question.
Yeah. Are we taking away Jesus as like the obvious answer?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes. Yeah, we will. Because we
Okay.
have, Jesus' words anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, I would still choose Jesus, but
Probably Jesus would have to be the fifth.
I would probably choose. I would talk to Paul. I want to hear like all his like missionary stories of like, of like when the boat sank or whatever, and he's like floating on a piece of plywood or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it'd be interesting to hear about.
Or literally his whole life before being saved. Like that's
Like killing Christians.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, like what was the road to Damascus like? And
Yeah. What'd you see when you went blind?
yeah, just a bunch of black.
No, you see nothing.
You see black.
No, you see nothing. It's like looking, like imagine if you were like trying to look out of your elbow.
I don't get it, but okay.
No, oh, okay, fine.
Okay.
Sorry, my bad. That's my bad. That's
Yeah,
on
that
me.
is your bad. You're gonna have to take that one.
So Keegan, who would you choose? Can't choose Paul.
Yeah, it's good. I had you chose a Bible character, so like now I feel like I'm like obligated to choose a Bible character.
No, you're not. I'll just shame you if you don't.
So like one person that was super influential of like my mindset for a lot of things was Kobe Bryant, and he's dead. So like, I think it'd be fun to have a conversation with him. He's one person I would love to just like pick his brain, because by saying that, I'm not endorsing every single one of his life choices, nor could you say that about anybody other than Jesus. But I'd say, Kobe Bryant would be one of them. If a biblical figure outside of Paul, I mean, I'm gonna go with the next obvious answer, Moses. I feel like Moses would be. Excuse me. What's that about?
That's what about.
Okay, Moses.
That was our audience member.
Oh. Oh yeah, we have one in the audience today.
Yeah. One's checking out C3 Live.
Get your tickets.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good. I think Kobe does have some interesting things. But this job's not finished, so let's get it started.
Yeah, job's not finished.
Job's
That's
not
good.
finished.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think too. I think Kobe, may have definitely struggled with like busyness and hurry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when you're up 2-0 in the finals,
That's
and
not
like
where I was going with this, bro.
when you're up 2-0 in the finals, and like I bet that's pretty stressful because
Dude,
like
you
like the job's not finished.
I had this transition, and then you were like, actually, let's do a 180 and let's go back to what we were talking about before.
and
I already
like,
made that joke.
and yeah, so like there's probably a lot of stress, and like it's probably a lot of hurry that comes along. With
Oh,
that.
so now you're gonna use my exact transition there.
Continue.
No, it sounds like you got it.
Continue. You got
So
it.
I recently have read this book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. If you guys
Let's-
can see that. We're not sponsored, so but
You got paid to read that book, right?
no, I actually read this on my own.
Oh, okay.
Because I got it before school ended, and then I
Okay.
read, and I've been reading
Okay.
it at home.
Okay.
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 So
Is that
can
the
we
real-
not sass?
Is that the real John Mark?
John Mark Comer.
Okay, not the real John.
No,
Mark.
I talked about John Mark today though.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's a book called. If you can't tell, Key and I are both like super tired. So, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And so it's kind of an interesting title. And the back says, How to Stay Emotionally Healthy and Spiritual Alive in the Chaos of the Modern World. Annie F. Downs, don't you like? Have you heard of her?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah, so in it, he brings up this problem. And he's kind of using Matthew 11, 28, and 30 as like kind of his like baseline. Where it says, Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
It's a good
just that-
song.
What song?
There's a song that I don't remember who sings it, but
Mm.
there's a song about that.
Interesting.
But it's a good Bible verse initially. Yes.
Initially.
You were saying, sorry.
Yeah, so he kind of brings up this problem that we have with hurry, and that we're always kind of rushing everywhere. He talks about hurry being the great enemy of spiritual life. So he talks about how we're always running, and we're always trying to watch the new show, trying to listen to the newest song, trying to hang out with the best friends, trying to buy the new thing, trying to watch the new movies, like whatever it is. Like there is an endless amount of things to consume, whether that be music, whether that be food, whether that be places to go, whether that be TV shows to watch, and we're not limitless. We're finite beings, so like we're gonna leave this earth sometime. So it's like, okay, we really have to choose what we do, what we eat, what we watch, what we listen to, because like we're limited, and there's like, I mean, there's so much stuff that we can watch and stuff, you know.
Where do you see like hurry creep into your life the most? Did I say worry?
No,
I meant hurry.
Yeah, I think you said hurry.
Okay.
So I just see hurry in, and I'm trying to think. You know, I tend to schedule a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, I can meet this person this day, and I can meet this person this day, and I'm teaching this day, so I can't do that, or we're doing the podcast this day, and it's like boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
thing after thing after thing, and then like whenever I have downtime, it's like consume, you know, and I don't agree with everything in this book. I should just be upfront in saying that. I disagree with how strict he is on one of his solutions to this problem that we have with hurry. But like, man, he brings up a brief history of speed. So like, dude, before electricity was invented, people slept for like an average of like 11 hours.
Dang, that'd be nice. I couldn't sleep that long though, I don't think.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. You would literally be on the sun cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you wouldn't have
So
lights to keep you up at night.
Mhm.
The sun goes down, you're going to bed. You have candles, but how efficient are those for actually doing things besides walking around the
so
house?
you would probably, like, during the winter, you'd go to bed at like 6.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And in the summer, obviously, it'd be less, but that'd be because you have more work to do, and you just work all day. Because, like, you read about, like, these guys, like Spurgeon and stuff, that, like, oh, man, he was up at 4 a.m. or whatever, like, praying to God, like, man, I wish I could be like that. And it's like, well, he went to bed at 7 p.m. the night before,
Right.
Or 6 o'clock the night before when the sun went down.
Mhm.
So he's gotten enough sleep.
Yeah,
as
he's
you
already gotten
used to,
10 hours, yeah.
Yeah, as you were, like, like me, like, I'm in a guy's Bible study at 8:30 at night.
Mm-hmm.
As like, by the time I get home, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can't physically run on, that much sleep and do and be the healthiest I can be.
Right. And there's this general like thing that people believe that young adults, and it's true, young adults stay up a lot later. So it's like you're already noticing, but especially like when you get into college,
Oh, yeah.
you'll notice most of the young adult things are scheduled like nothing for young adults starts before 6:30. So like
No.
all the stuff I go to, like one of them starts at 6:30 and goes to 9. One of them starts at 7:30 and goes to like 10.
Yeah.
Everything's scheduled later in the afternoon, and so. But I'm going to answer the question I asked you too. I feel like for me, hurry creeps in, or like just presents itself in like my work the most. And my jobs can be a pretty fast-paced job. Things can get busy out of nowhere, and a lot of times I will just get in a hurry state of mind to constantly jump from one thing to the next without like then forgetting to be intentional about everything that I do.
Yeah. And us as a culture, no, that's good. Us as a culture, like we've, like, kind of been encouraging this hurry of like, oh man, he's working so hard, being at work all day long and not taking a break. It's like that's not healthy to your spirit to the break. Like, and one of the first things he brings up is silence and solitude as a solution for this.
Oh yeah.
Using the example of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I mean, that guy was so busy. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, compared to us, like, I mean, he was always teaching. He was always healing someone. He's always casting out these demons, doing these, like, quote unquote, big things. He was doing big things on earth.
Yeah.
And he was so busy, but he still took time to go be off by himself.
Right.
For like, even like a day.
Right.
Like Jesus, like, oh man, like, when he got tempted by the devil, I mean, real common story. He was in the desert for 40 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he had just started his ministry, and then he goes off in the desert for 40 days. Like, there's something to be said for that. I mean, it's like, man, if Jesus took 40 days away from his ministry here on earth, because Jesus didn't live a long time. I mean, we're on average, we live way longer than him.
Our average life expectancy as Americans is twice of what Jesus' life was.
Exactly. And if Jesus,
As far as
knowing
lifespan,
that,
yeah.
Jesus knowing that, just knowing he's only going to live for that long, took 40 days out of his life to go be alone in the desert.
Well, and then like also like that was he only lived close to around 40 years, less than 40 years.
Yeah, less than 40 years.
A very like even smaller part of that was his actual ministry, where he was actually traveling around and preaching the gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
And so him showing that taking time. So they're taking a time away. That's really good, Max. I think there's a certain level of hurry that is put on us by our jobs that is like you can't escape it.
Yeah.
And so what I want to ask is, from what you've read, kind of what has been how do we not hurry in our downtime then? Because there's a certain amount of hurry that's going to be put on us just naturally because we have to live within the schedule of the things. But when we do have say over time, what are some ways to be opposite of that?
Yeah, no, that's a good question.
That question was not formed very well, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you're trying to say. Because like for me, like we're recording this on Sunday afternoon. It's around 3:30, 3:45. You know, I have had something scheduled every single day this week. That's like, I've agreed to have my time to do this. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, bail on someone or something like that. And so it's like, man, how do we have this downtime and then have the downtime, like, able to rejuvenate our souls?
Yeah.
And I think one practical tip is just like, put your phone away. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what he talks about a little later. He talks about it a couple different times in the book. And, you know, when he's talking about he talks about keeping to the Sabbath. And so, like, he will schedule out a whole day, and he'll put his phone away for, like, over 24 hours in, like, a lockbox in a closet, and they'll put all their technology away. And, you know, they won't watch TV and that kind of stuff. I think that in that downtime, like, whatever we consume, like, we become in some ways, right? Like, and so it does affect us. And so, like, we shouldn't be, you know, when we're in a downtime, you know, it's easy to consume work, which we've already been doing, or it's easy to consume media, which we've already been doing. So how we consume, you know, God and the things of God, you know, by prayer, reading God's word, being in fellowship, like even just like playing games, like with your friends,
Right.
something like that is good for the soul.
Yeah,
like
for
you,
sure.
like you and I hanging out, or like Orvin and I hanging out, like
Yeah.
that's like good for the soul.
For sure.
And I think that's how you can get, like, focus in the downtime when you're not in this hurried state. Like, get out of the hurried state and just breathe.
Yeah. So I brought up some of the things that were like naturally going to be rushed things, you know, like a schedule that, like, in our workplace, especially a workplace that's going to be a high-paced workplace, there's going to be a lot of things where we have to hurry. Now, there are people who have more flexibility and are not so bound to a schedule, and then it is our responsibility to make sure that we don't hurry. So, like, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is, like, when you're a child and you're trying to go get groceries with your mom, and sometimes you have that experience where your mom's really done putting up with you, and it's just like rushing from one thing to the next. And I don't mean to throw all the moms under the bus right here, like, that's not the point of this, but how do we, when we have a say over our schedule, choose to slow down versus choose to speed up or, like, do things quickly?
For the people that have the schedule.
Yeah, have more
flexibility.
flexibility in their schedule.
So I would just say schedule out your day. And then, like, kind of just schedule out your day. Schedule out breaks throughout your day. Like, so, like, for me, like, I have these projects I have to do. And, you know, it's like, you know, deadline, like things I have to, like, you know, you and I are recording a podcast next week. Like, that's, you don't have to do that. I'm preaching on Sunday. Have to get ready for that. A Bible study, getting ready for that, right? So there's things I have to do, and so I need to schedule my time and schedule out breaks throughout the time, because I have a pretty flexible schedule. I'm working on my own projects, but I'm still pretty busy in that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't have time to twiddle my thumbs there in the office. Like, I got stuff I got to get done. So I think, you know, either, you know, if you get home late, stay up later, just, like, be in the presence of God, wake up earlier. Oh, he's taking notes.
Yep, I got to take some.
He's taking some notes. You know, or wake up a little earlier, get some alone time with God, because that is, in essence, slowing down. And then, you know, throughout your day, I think breaks are fairly important throughout your day, allowing you to just kind of take a break, catch a breath.
Yeah. And you brought up, I'm going to go back to something you said earlier. That was good. As far as, you know, there are certain things in our life that we have control over and certain things we don't. I think the important part is that we take a step back and we realize, what is our purpose on this earth? God put us on this earth to glorify him and bring people to believe that he, you know, his death and resurrection, and believe what that means for them.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I think we need to always be cognizant of that, and we always need to be aware of what our actual purpose is, and not neglecting that even in the busyness of the work schedule. One thing I wanted to bring up from something you said, you talked about Christian fellowship, and a lot of times when people think of fellowship, they think of praise and worship, they think of reading the Bible. I think a really important distinction, or not necessarily distinction, but something, a clarification on Christian fellowship, like you talked about, that doesn't have to be a thing where we get together and we strictly do Jesus things. Now, it shouldn't be something where we get together to specifically unite over a particular sin, as
Yeah.
far as like indulging in that sin. But what I mean by that is like you said, having those board games and like, depending on what you like to do, like some people might find it really fun to go out on a hike together. And some other people might find it more fun to go watch a football game together. But
or even like play video games.
yeah,
together.
for sure. Just the very act of being together with fellow believers and like-minded things. A lot of times, I feel like that naturally that environment sparks conversation of Christian conversation of, like, hey, what's God been doing in your life? How's church been? It might spark a lot of those things, but that's not the only thing you're united for. You're united because of your friendship, and that doesn't mean that we just have to be united over a church event. It's just Christians gathering.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I think it's a really important point to make, because like whenever we envision fellowship, it's always like, oh yeah, time to go to church.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's not what. That's like that is a part of fellowship.
Yeah, for
right. I
sure.
mean, that is like meeting
Mhm.
together, praising the Lord together, and doing that. You should be glorifying God whenever you guys are together.
Right. I think another thing for Hurry, as far as Hurry goes, I think for the people who are kind of fly by the seat of their pants and just like are very, they just make decisions
Carefree.
on the spur of the moment. I think the answer for you is to have more structure and a little bit more schedule in order to not as saying a blanket statement, but I think that would be one way to schedule more downtime for yourself, to slow yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side of that, people who have to have everything scheduled, that is their form of hurry, is overbooking themselves or scheduling themselves too much. And so I think they could benefit from doing less of that to actually slow them down. And so I think for the people who are more free, it's being more intentional about living in the moment, being more intentional about actually choosing to live in the moment. And then for the people who are more scheduled, they need to deter from their schedule a little bit in order to enjoy that actual time in the moment.
No, that's really good. I like that point of there's both sides of it.
Mm-hmm. There's extremes on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And one time this first chapter, this first solution, I think is really, really big. That he gives. He says silence and solitude is the first solution that he offers. Like the solitude that I talked about, being alone with God and the presence of God. How Jesus, always went alone to pray. He went alone to pray. He left, went by himself in the garden to go pray. And then silence. He brings up silence. Now there's obviously like external silence like this. Right? Like no music, no TV in the background.
Just silence. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just silence. And then there's internal silence as well. And now I thought
That's a lot harder.
that that is a lot harder too. It's a whole nother beast. And St. Augustine, he's an African theologian. Like he wrote about entering silence is entering into joy. Like silence is, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I struggle with like being silent, especially internally.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have this internal monologue going like all the time. Like,
Yeah.
if you're talking to me, like I'm thinking about this lesson that I need to write. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, for sure. And like, let's see. There was like a couple quotes. Like this Syrian monk said, "The friend of silence draws near to God. Drawing near to God is related to silence." And man, it's so interesting to me. Here's what I mean by internal noise. He says, the mental chatter that just never shuts up.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's, especially for us people, I'd say like I'm going to be, for myself, who's someone who is very particular about like rigidity of schedule and like doing things in a specific order. Taking that time to just, and constantly having new ideas flowing through my mind of like, okay, this is what we did in this particular situation. This is how we could have done it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so those thoughts are, like, I think those are really helpful thoughts, but they're constantly going through my head. So when you try to take that solution of solitude and silence, it's hard to shut up the noise in your head. And that was one of the reasons that I like when I pray, a lot of times I'll pray out loud because I can't, I have a hard time praying in my head because of that noise. And so, but like knowing that we have complete control over our thoughts.
Yeah, understanding that, like, you're the master of your ship,
Mm-hmm.
although you can't control the wind and the waves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That's really good.
And when I talk about solitude, I don't mean isolation. I don't mean isolating yourself. They're like two completely different things. He defines it like this: solitude is engagement, isolation is escape. Solitude is safety, isolation is danger. So, solitude is very, very important. He always brings up these theologians that are like super smart that have talked about these things before. It's silence and Jesus. Through church history, most of the master teachers of the way of Jesus have agreed silence and solitude are the most important of all the spiritual disciplines. Henry Nouwen said it bluntly yet eloquently: without solitude, it is virtually impossible to live a spiritual life. We do not take the spiritual life seriously if we do not set some time to be with God and listen to Him.
Yeah, and I think this is where we draw our idea of what a quote unquote quiet time is, where some people don't like that saying of quiet time because they're like, my quiet time's not quiet at all.
Yeah.
But this is some backing for that, like reading. I think one thing to add to the silence part is because if we're never silent, we'll never listen. Mm-hmm. If all we ever do is ask and demand of things of God, like with prayer requests, and asking why God does it have to be this way. If all we ever do is ask, we're never going to be able to listen if we're never quiet.
Yeah.
And so as long as we're talking, I don't think we can hear what God is saying to us.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I like that a lot. You have anything more on silence and solitude? That's all I got on there.
No, is there other solutions to this?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. There's 4.
4 of them.
Yeah, he brings up 4. Silence and solitude, Sabbath, simplicity, and slowing.
Let's talk about simplicity.
So yeah, because he brings up the Sabbath, and he would think that he believes that we are still required to practice the Sabbath, which I would disagree with because that's one of the 10 Commandments that's not repeated in the New Testament. And since Jesus died, we're not under that old covenant anymore. We're under the new covenant. Mm-hmm. We're under the New Testament principles. And so I would disagree with him on that. Although I think it's a good practice.
Yeah,
I should say that. Like go have a Sabbath where you don't work, where and so that's good. Simplicity. Alan Fadling insightfully said, "The drive to possess is an engine for hurry." So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Let's go. Like he brings up the example of riding a motorcycle, which really resonated with me, and because I like riding dirt bikes and stuff. He's like thinking about buying this motorcycle, and it's like, okay. So I want to possess everything. I want to have this motorcycle. Well, this motorcycle, first of all, is going to take money that I worked for, that I use my time to work for. Mm-hmm. And then once I buy the motorcycle, what kind of time investment is that? Well, first of all, I have to go ride that motorcycle. Yeah. So, you're going to go ride it if you're going to buy it. Yep. Then, you have to maintenance on it, change oil on it, do all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it ends up costing a lot more than that price tag of $25,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think the want to possess can be a vice for, God has offered us, He's offered us eternal life, and that is more than enough for us. But we feel a certain sense of emptiness in our lives, and we try to fill that with either like actual possessions or time investments. Yeah. I think a lot of times, if you're feeling low, I think some people's reaction to stress can be to go spend money on something and try to fill that void with possessions. And so I think that is part of that hurry culture, is, just continue to buy to try to and do it without thinking about it very deeply, to continue to fill that void that we can't fill. That is a God-sized hole.
Yeah, exactly. So like, it's like he brought up. So like when you're thinking about like possessing everything, like you're talking about, he said, whenever you think about buying something, ask yourself, is this going to slow my life down, or is this going to hurry it more?
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that was good, and just like, that desire to possess everything is it's first of all, it's selfish.
Yeah.
We don't need to possess everything, but we think we deserve it. And then secondly, also, I just wanted to say this out there. We're not here to shame you, because there is, you have free will to do it. But then the other side of it is we've been conditioned to want everything. Like whenever we see ads are literally catered to, try to encourage us to buy and to, watch this new movie. This movie looks so good, doesn't it?
I'd say it's like encouraged to indulgence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like that a lot. Encouraged to indulgence. And so it's like, you see this car commercial and there's two, models driving the car. And it's like, oh man, well, if you buy this car, you'll look like them,
and you'll attract these people.
Exactly. And so that's kind of like we've been, ads are advertisements, and social media the same way are just catered towards how our brains work.
Yeah, for sure. So what was the last point that you brought up?
Slowing. Is there
slowing? Yes. So slowing. How do we slow?
Yeah. So he brings up just like a bunch of kind of random things. So he, like, one of them was like set times to answer emails. So he answers. I want to say he maybe answers emails like once a week, or maybe twice a week, which is interesting and different for a pastor than other jobs. I mean, he's a mega church pastor, and it's different for that. As some people, it's like, they need a response, like, but then set a time like every day,
right?
To do it, and so you're not, and take email like off your phone.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think to that specific point, like I know a lot of people who check their emails at the beginning of the day and the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he brought up too.
And like most people who are trying to get a hold of you via email, like if you're in your job where emails are a big thing, a lot of times people who are trying to get a hold of you via email, it's not like the way I see email is it's not urgent. It's never urgent. It's like, hey, whenever you have time to get around to it. It's like a call or a text is a little, like slightly more. A call's a text
it is Keegan.
Yeah, right. Okay, buddy. Yeah, a text is slightly more urgent than an email, and a call, I'd say, is even more urgent, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I think that is one way that we are hurried. Is like, okay, you need to answer all your emails as soon as they come in. You need to answer all your text messages as soon as they come in, and you need to get back with people on from calls they've made to you as soon as possible. And there's a lot of times that people are trying to get a hold of you, and it's like, I think you need to value like keeping your life slower over constantly hurrying and try to get to everyone, because when you're trying to hurry to get to everyone, you can't give them 100% of what you would be able to. Like, you need to do it within good timing. Don't be unresponsive. Don't be slow, like so slow that it's invigorating, but
or that it hurts relationships.
Yeah, for sure. But like also don't be so quick that you can't give them all that you are, all that you have.
Or that like you're answering them as someone else is calling you, and like your mind's just shifting different priorities at the same time.
And then you neglect your own personal health to try to help them out. Like that's the real danger of this all.
Yeah, because then you're trying to fill their cup, but you don't have anything in your cup to fill them up with.
For sure.
Yeah,
or your bucket.
That's right.
Yes.
So one of the ways he had slowing down that I thought was like interesting. Drive the speed limit. Not 5 over. He said drive the speed limit. Now he said now don't go under the speed limit, because then everybody will hate you. Right? but drive the speed limit.
Chip Ingram had something similar to this. Chip said one of the vices that he had was anger. And a lot of where he found that anger to be was when he was driving. I'm like,
I'm right there, brother.
I'm like, dude, I get that. I understand that. And so he agreed for I think he said a year to exclusively drive in the right lane and not get into the left lane and even try to pass anybody, because he just said driving, just made him angry, and he wanted to calm down. And so I noticed that in the times in my life, like Max and I, like I grew up in this town, and Max, the town that he lives in, it's it's a smaller town, and like there's no posted speed limits on any of the streets, hardly any of the streets, and so like you can drive just about any speed. You can drive anywhere from 15 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour on any given street.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'll find myself when I'm like a more calm and relaxed state of mind over a particular week, I will find myself like not in a rush to get to places.
Yeah.
Number one, because I'm setting myself up for success by leaving at a decent time.
Like,
Like
when have you ever done that? dude?
exactly. And so and then when I'm finding myself more rushed, and then I'm having to drive faster. But like when I'm in the best state of mind, I feel like I drive slower,
No, I agree. Like when you're the
but
most,
not right at the speed limit. So
Yeah.
but
like
yes,
when you're at peace, it's like I don't have to be in a rush.
right, for sure. And I know if I run into, like if I get a flat tire and I have to quickly change it, that will still be on time and not have to rush.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like that takes work for like people who are like me, like naturally don't ever give yourself enough time, and you commit to a lot of things and then struggle to follow through as far as like getting there on time. Like set yourself up for success by leaving way earlier than you think you should.
Yeah.
And that's one way that you can slow your life down. And I feel like that's one way. It's a way of it's a spiritual thing, of a way that we can be more obedient, because we're actually doing what we said we would do.
You're being honest.
Yeah, exactly. And don't overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And the third one I'm going to bring up he has like 20 of these or whatever about slowing, but just like putting your phone in a different room.
Oh, yeah,
At
for
night.
sure.
And
At night. Okay.
I'm gonna challenge. This is like, we didn't talk about this beforehand. Keegan, for the next, I was gonna say a week, but I'm gonna say 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Phone is in a different room of the house at night. Let's say put up like, okay, so like we have things at like in the evening, so it's like, but like as soon as you get home, let's see. Okay, let's say if you get home at like 8, you're going to bed at like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Put your phone up at like 9, like an hour before you go to bed.
Okay.
Hour before you go to bed. Let's just say that
Okay.
for the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's like you gotta text Haley, like, okay, Haley, I gotta put my phone up for the night.
I will talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, let's do it, and then 2 weeks from tomorrow.
We'll give you our results.
From 2 weeks from Monday, we'll give you what we thought, whether we're gonna keep doing it, whether we're not. But that's what he brought up, because, yeah. So that's all I have.
We're running over.
So, and if anyone you listen to this episode, I was thinking about this. If any of you guys listen to this episode like 2 times speed or like 1.5 times speed,
You are part of the problem.
you are consuming too much.
Yeah, I got the 5 podcasts I need to get to today, so I can listen to 5 more tomorrow.
No, I'm just joking. I listen to all my stuff on that kind of speed, so it's okay.
Except for if it's Ben Shapiro, man, you gotta listen to it on like 0.75.
Yeah. And then he's like talking like this all the whole time, and you don't even understand what he's saying.
Yeah, for sure. Who was it that we were listening to somebody talk the other day, and we turned it up to 1.5. I think I was with you. And we turned it up to 1.5, and it finally sounded like a normal speed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Probably a college professor.
probably. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all we have for today. So, more of the story is, look at your life, think about what is making you hurry. Try to slow down, and because hurry is the antithesis. I don't think I'm saying that right. There's no way. Hurry is the opposite of what Jesus was doing in his life. Like, okay, let me just bring up one more example. So Lazarus is about to die, right?
Mm-hmm. Not for good, but
Right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. He's about to die, and the disciples are like, "Hey, let's go back." And then Jesus is like, "Oh wait, let's wait here." No, I'm thinking of. Am I thinking about the girl? I'm thinking about a girl that was sick. I think a girl was sick.
Yeah,
These people came to him. They're like, "Hey, come here, come heal
parents,
this girl." And Jesus like, "Okay, we'll wait. We'll stay here another day, and then we'll go." And they're like, go
She's
now.
about to
Like, she's about
die.
to die.
Yeah.
And he's waiting. He's slowing down. Obviously, like, don't wait to go to the hospital because you like want to slow down. But yeah, you guys get what I'm saying with that. So
yeah, for sure. Well, sure. It's been an honor and a pleasure, Max, for letting you have me on your show.
yeah, no, dude, it's been all right with you. So,
Yeah, you're all right.
anyways,
Thanks for
Slow
listening,
down.
guys.
slow down. Don't hurry up.
Yeah, really appreciate you listening. Thanks for listening. See you guys. Bye.
Peace out, basic
Family.
family. I did. Yeah, I got.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Christian Campfire Conversations. I'll see you next week.